Welcome to Bold Talk series where creativity, leadership, ideas, innovation come together. My name is Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Ricardo Miquelino, founder and co-CEO of And Dos Santos. Ricardo, great seeing you, and welcome to our Bold Talks special edition for top finalists of Bold 6th edition. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fine, Evie, and thank you very much for having me. It's really an honor to join you for this call today.
Well, congratulations being a top finalist at Bold Awards 6th edition. I remember 2 years ago, you brought the client of yours, Deutsche Bahn, and what an amazing evening that was and receiving the award. So truly looking forward to seeing about your project that you have submitted this time. You've been selected for a top finalist.
Thank
Tell us first, for people who don't know about Dos Santos, tell us about And Dos Santos and what does this recognition to you and your work in collective intelligent design?
So, telling about Santos, so I'm Ricardo, and I'm, as you said, the co-founder or the founder and the co-CEO of Santos. And what we basically do is we help companies, especially companies with a strong heritage, to transform. So, to build new capabilities into their organizations. And our focus when we are doing this lies on designing collective intelligence. And yeah, we are taking this, of course, now to new levels, but it's basically what we are doing. And yeah, what should I say? When I read about it, that we are part of the Bold Awards again, and that we have been nominated, this is, yeah, especially an honor for us because we have followed Crowdsource Week for quite a while. And what we are doing is somewhat connected, of course, to a crowdsourcing model. And it also focuses on the diversity of people, the diversity of expertise, and to access this diversity to create something new. So, of course, we feel very connected to the Bold Awards and the Crowdsource Week. And therefore, we are very grateful to be nominated here.
Awesome, man. Great work that you're doing, Ricardo. For people who don't have an idea but much about the collective intelligent design, how do you define collective intelligent design and why it is a game changer for strategic business innovation that you're doing?
Let me give you an example that I believe a lot of people have heard of. And the example that I would like to use to explain collective intelligence design is Pixar. And back in the 2000s, they were quite popular about building these diverse teams coming together from different departments to create a fantastic new movie, a fantastic new piece of storytelling together. And this I found very fascinating. And in my corporate days, I started to use this on my projects, and I had such a great experience with using it. Spending less time, spending less resources, and especially getting a much, much better result on my projects. And this then led me to really launch And Dos Santos. And designing collective intelligence, if you think back of this Pixar example, is about finding this right mix in teams, about characteristics, about the capabilities, about the responsibilities, about the DNA of such a team to then also overcome new challenges effectively, but also embedding new capabilities in your teams. This is to me designing collective intelligence. And when we are doing this today, we are looking at three things. The first thing that we are doing when we are designing collective intelligence is to build awareness for change. Or today, it's not so much about awareness, it's much more about acceptance, because a lot of people are hesitant to change. They have their modus operandi in their work field, and they don't really want to do anything differently. But it's about finding this or identifying these barriers and then to build acceptance into these teams. And let me also be very frank here, it's not about age, and especially the older people are much more open to change than the young people. There are a lot of good studies about this. So that's the first thing. And the next thing is about empowering these companies or teams with new capabilities. So how do I transfer new capabilities into an organization very quickly? And the last one is then to anchor it within the DNA of a company so that it lasts there for a long time and drives then also the ability to transform even without us. So this is what we call collective intelligence design.
Ah, very well explained. Ricardo, what industries are underutilizing the uh,
I remember that question, and I was thinking, I was then starting to think about the different industries. And you know what, AB, it's not about an industry. It's much more about the character of a company. So we see that especially companies which have a strong heritage from the past, with a strong founder, or there's a story that happened to them. It can be a very positive or a rather negative story that they went through in the past, or companies with a very traditional hierarchical systems. These are the companies that can benefit the most when we give them collective intelligence design. Why? Because they used to either be very stiff in their core business, or they always are looking for solutions outside of the organizations. Might it be with other consultants? Hopefully not with me, because I'm doing it a little bit different, or we do it a little bit different. But they are going to consultants to create then the solution for them, or they are making change a kind of an exclusive element in their organizations, that they have an innovations department or so, or they have an accelerator, an incubator, whatsoever. They always make change exclusive, and it needs to be inclusive. That's the biggest thing that we need to achieve.
yeah. Yeah, and when I look at, for example, the collective intelligence design, a lot of times, for example, when we look at the problems, right, uh, that we have today, they've been presented to us without truly going and identifying what is the real problem in the first place, right? Once you apply this collective intelligent design, uh, uh, the mindset, the framework, you start to think about, okay, well, let's see what are the other problems there may be that
Yes.
we can attack it, so then we can come to the solutions, right? And so I always have a problem with this. Actually, I'm reading a book. It's called Decisive.
Mhm.
The name of the book is called Decisive. I forgot the name of the author.
That's nice.
Let me see here. Such a great book because it talks about the how important it is to not to get stuck on the information that was just given to you,
Yeah.
okay, and it's given a spotlight to that information. The name of the authors are Chip Heath and Dan Heath. Decisive, great book.
I will make a note right
Yeah,
after the
and
call.
so when I look at today, like this is super important what you're doing, and for me, crowdsourcing, this is what truly got me out of bed, and I say, I got
Yeah.
to do something. I got to bring this
Yeah.
this this conversation all over the world because it's so important to be embedded in a company's DNA. Now, my question is. What has been the biggest challenge in bringing forward to the companies or scaling the collective intelligence driven innovation, and how you can overcome it, because sometimes you have this pushback and it's hard to get over it.
Absolutely. But before I answer that question, I would like to go back to what you were saying about the diversity and bringing in new perspectives into teams, because you are so right. And it's also something that we found out that this first phase is the most important one. So the first phase where we are building the acceptance or the awareness that we are using their diversity, a diversity perspective from within, but also from without of the organization. And you know, AP, just one thing that I would like us to remember here is that in the past, I think we started to work on this diverse perspectives, also with the help of design thinking since the early 2010s, right? But what we did not really achieve at that time often was the implementation of the new thinking into the core business. it always was treated somehow exclusive. And with design thinking, just to give you some numbers, what we are able to achieve is, for example, a 2.1 times better connection to the core business, a 2.3 times better transfer of new knowledge into an organization, and a 2.7 times better identification of these barriers and drivers that you were talking about. And overall, you spent about 30% less resources. So this to me is the 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 proof that collective intelligence design is one of the most powerful methodologies when it comes to building transformation into an organization and building lasting capabilities of transformation. So that's the most important one.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to, sorry.
No, good, good. Yeah, I'm truly with you because when I look at it, the what's been in the past for days, for example, when I go back and I started crowdsourcing week, I got in this bandwagon understanding that okay, well, this is much bigger than what people can comprehend. If we're able to align crowds together, it would be a miracle of thing that we can do, right? And so alignment is what really was been missing, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, and this connects then to your next question, the biggest challenge here is, yeah, trust. So
Mm.
that people trust into this process because it's new, it's somehow a little bit out of control, and we use a lot of storytelling along our way to
Mm.
make sure that people understand that not being in control is a good thing at the moment where we are, and
Yeah,
we give control back at the end. But for a certain period, we take the control away from the teams, and they just need to accept and just to dive into this process.
yeah,
And the other thing that drove a lot of trust for us is our asset that we have built. So we have rather a small crowd that we use as a resource for expertise. We have a curated collective of about 42 experts from the fields of economics, arts, science, technology, and they have been pre-qualified on 5 metrics, which I can explain to you if you like. And we have made sure that they don't bring just a wealth of expertise to the table, but also the willingness to help other people. And they're good in communicating, because that's another one that's very important when you are doing collective intelligence design communication. There are good communicators in project teams. So these are the two things that we do. So the one asset that we have would, I would really say, world-class thought leaders, because we have an Academy Award winner with us, as well as a professor from St. Gallen, as well as top startup leaders who did their exit already, and
mm,
board members, so really experienced people. And on the other hand side, the storytelling element, which when you see our process, is really woven into every step that we have there, from
yeah.
calling the analysis phase, the apostille, for example, going through blind date, going into a wrestling. At the end, we have a round table again where we bring everyone together.
Nice. I will definitely love to do another topic just on 5 metrics because it's just really exciting for me, and I think this could be very valuable to other people outside to know about
Pleasure.
how you're doing these five, where you have those 5 metrics and how you're able to
Yeah,
get them in. But you mentioned something about trust, which is really, really important. Like I learned in my life that, when I learn how to trust God, and I'm not talking about religion, I'm just talking about the faith that, that when I learn how to let go and let God, things just happen amazing. And
yeah,
so it's the same thing also with the things like, you got to do what you got to do, but sometimes you just have to trust that gut, that you got to let go and let crowds start to do its magic, because humans are just incredible. I mean, most of the innovation, when you look at it, right,
yeah,
came from non-professionals because they were not limited with their thinking. They were not thinking about, okay, what's not possible. They were thinking like, hey, the craziest idea is possible, right? So
Absolutely.
this is
And
just a
just
really exciting
just to
time.
add on this, so you will like this. For example, we were working on mobile product for Vodafone for their prepaid brand called Otello here in Germany. And we had in the team the guy who does a personal endorsement for Marilyn Manson.
Huh.
So this person, of course, brings a new interesting perspective to the table because he also understands how to tell a new product, a new story, a new
Yeah,
world, create a new world with socks, with your trousers, with your shirt that you have on in very weird ways. And this really opened up the whole spirit of the team and gave us so many new perspectives and new ideas that we have been
incredible.
able to create a really, really strong solution for them.
Yeah. Yeah, this is amazing. Now, Ricardo, the future of innovation is collaboration, right? I always look at collaboration, especially in this digital age, is the new currency. How do you see CID? How do you see collective intelligence design evolving in the next 2 to 5 years?
Collaboration, yes.
Yeah.
And I see a very strong collaboration between humans and machine. So I'm working at the moment on a model which is called human times machine exponential, which combines collective intelligence design or empowers collective intelligence design to a new level by using AI. And how this works, AB, is that AI will or is much better also in analyzing, for example, the communication in companies, the communication teams, what we are saying in meetings, in workshops, in design thinking workshops, what's on papers, and this gives us, and we experimented with this, and we just started to do this. This gives us such much more clarity. What are the real barriers and drivers in an organization? So that's the first one. The next one is also, as we are designing a character, as I said at the beginning, AI helps us to stick to this character, to use the best language, to use the right communication, to engage the team, and to spark ideas, to spark openness, to spark solutions for the challenges that we are seeing.
Yeah.
So I see that in the next 2 to 5 years, collective intelligence becomes even a more powerful tool with the use of AI, and especially because it's helping us to drive more emotional, which will be a surprise probably for a lot of people, because it will help us to drive more emotional intelligence into the process and therefore being more human along the way. So this is what I believe collective intelligence design will, yeah, move
You're
to.
you're right. You're right on point. I wrote an article. It was probably like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and this was in response to one of the VPs of innovation technology for Microsoft. He wrote an article, and I wrote that as a part of a article from my perspective. And I said that the the CI, the collective intelligence plus the AI will ultimately give us the super intelligence, right?
Absolutely.
And
A human is human super intelligence if we
right,
do this.
human, because it's not just about the intelligence itself, but the human in the in the loop, which is so important
Absolutely.
to recognize it. So, Ricardo, this is a short format conversation. I would love to have, as I said to you, another bold talk specific on those five metrics.
With pleasure.
We can arrange that after the award ceremony. Um,
Or in Lisbon.
now, what's that?
Or
What's
we
that?
do this in
Yeah,
Lisbon.
we do it Lisbon. Why not? Why not? And
Setting, maybe.
yeah, I think we can do that. Let's do it. Perfect.
Yeah,
That's a great idea. So let's do it in the open air over the drinks. How about
yeah.
that? Let's do it. We'll arrange it. And for that, my last question to you is the what does a word bold mean to you? Not the bold awards, but the word bold.
So to me, being bold is really about changing for good, changing for a good human future, if you want to say so. And yeah, and focus on this. This is being bold to me.
That's amazing. Being human is the key, and this is where I see a lot of people are forgetting about this. They're putting so much effort and so much focus on technology. They forgetting about the human loop, human
Mm,
design,
absolutely.
and very well said. So, Ricardo, again, truly looking forward to seeing you. Congratulations for being top final. Let's hope for a win. In meantime, be great, be bold always, and see you in Lisbon, my friend. Take care.
See you in Lisbon, AP. Thank you very much for the call.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.